In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Diplomat Elox fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links in the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, it really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. This is the Diplomat Elox. Now, before we walk through the pen, just want to talk about some background of the company Diplomat. This is a German company that was founded in 1922. So they just recently celebrated a 100-year anniversary, and they began as a fountain pen manufacturer, and supposedly they are one of the first to introduce cartridge fountain pens to Germany, as well as introduce the ballpoint pen to Germany. Now, after the 50s, reading the company history is a little confusing. I don't know for how long they kept making pens, but I do believe at one point they were in staples. They're older pens. When I say older, I mean like maybe ones from like the 90s and maybe early 2000s were not really very attractive, kind of gold plated shiny lacquer type things as was popular back then, but they have a pretty good reputation for good quality, and I think that shows here. Now, the name of the pen is called the Elox or Elox, and it's an abbreviation for the German word for anodized, Eloxieren or something like that. This pen is double anodized, so we have a black matte anodized and a blue anodized, which is a very distinctive look to this pen. And, you know, they make a big deal out of it, calling the pen the Elox or Elox. This is basically shaped on the arrow pen, which they say is supposed to look like a zeppelin. To me, it almost looks like a projectile or something. It's got these pointy tips on it. It's kind of interesting looking. Let's walk through the pen. So again, we kind of have that zeppelin shape, we'll call it. Very pointy ends. We have a finial, which has like two gray anodized colors to it with the Diplomat logo, which is kind of like this little flower thing. And that color also comes down to the clip, which is very long and quite rounded. It becomes larger as it gets towards the bottom there. Again, the body is this sort of matte black anodized aluminum with these ridges in here that are blue. In white, it says Diplomat and Germany. Very easy to read that white against the black. And at the end, we have another kind of, I don't know, titanium colored tip. It's not titanium. It's all aluminum, but anyway, that's just sort of the color that I want to call it. Now, it's a snap cap, and it comes on and off. It's quite a smooth mechanism, and you get a pretty satisfying click out of it. So I definitely like that. And then we have a more sort of glossier blue grip section. And they do these in orange and maybe pink. And then I've seen like one they call the Matrix, which is a green one, and it has a slightly different pattern to this, but again, double anodized. So we have a steel nib here. They are available in a two-tone gold nib. Now the retail price for this pen is $275. The street price, I believe, is $220. And the gold nib basically doubles that price. So you're paying a lot for that gold nib. I believe these are Jowo nibs. They have their own nice Diplomat decoration with the flower logo, which has the sort of breather hole in the very middle of it. And it says Diplomat since 1922 and EF because this is a extra fine nib. Now I have it in a cartridge here, but it takes standard international cartridge and converter. It does come with a nicely branded Diplomat converter. And I did buy this in a set, which came with a Diplomat leather pen case and a bottle of ink. And I was able to get them half off Atlas Pen's typical price, so I paid $112 for this pen. It writes really nicely. You know, I would say the design is not my cup of tea, but it works well. Okay, so let's do the size and weight here. So looking at about 142 millimeters long, unposted, looking at about 130 millimeters. And this thing does post pretty nicely, and there we're at about 160 millimeters. I do use it posted. I don't find it to be too top heavy. I will say you have to be careful with the finish. There is like a plastic sleeve in there to kind of protect it, but you're going to probably get marks on the pen if you do that. Oops. And especially if you do what I just did there. So much for posting securely. No, it is secure. Okay, let's do the grip section. Nice long grip section. I really do. I like a big grip section, and this has one. So way down at the back here, 12.2, and then it kind of dips in the middle here before fluting out. Kind of a cool design, but I'm gonna go right before it dips because you're not really gonna be gripping it there. 9.9. So nice big grip section. Really like that. Okay, now let's do the weight. So 20.4 grams uncapped and 32 grams capped. It's quite a lightweight pen for a metal pen. Very comfortable to write with. Just as a comparison, this is a Pilot Vanishing Point, so 32.2. So it's a little bit lighter than a Vanishing Point, but if you look, it's a much thicker pen than that. So pretty interesting. Just as a comparison, we can throw in a couple other pens here. This is a Mont Blanc 149, definitely not as big as that. Pelikan M1000, also not about as thick as that, but not as long. And here is a Aurora Talentum. I think maybe it's a little bit thicker than that here. Let's do the writing sample. The writing sample is going to be done on a Papermind Mitsubishi Bank Paper notebook. These notebooks are really excellent with fountain pens. And for Blake's Broadcast viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. So this is a Diplomat Elox extra fine, and I believe this is blue black. I'm not sure. I'm using a cartridge that came in the package. Do some quick writing. Yep, no issues with performance there at all. Diplomat, I believe, tests all of their nibs by hand before they leave the factory, or at least that's what I read. I don't know if it's true, but they do have a good reputation for having pens that write well. In terms of flexibility, no. I mean, this is really, it's a nail. It's not the smoothest extra fine. I'm going to compare it to, this is a Aurora style. Yeah, there's definitely more tooth to this. I don't consider it to be it's not a scratchy nib like it's catching on the paper, but I do notice that it's not quite as smooth as some extra fine nibs like this Aurora style. That's going to be really down to personal preference. I've enjoyed writing with this pen, but there's definitely more feedback there. Reverse writing, that's not great. I'm going to say no, it can't do that. But performance-wise, I'm very happy with it. If you like a really smooth nib and you want an extra fine, maybe this isn't the best option. But again, this is my sample size of 1. And to me, it's not the smoothest, but it is a really nice writing pen nonetheless. So, what are my pros and cons for the Diplomat Elox fountain pen? Well, the biggest pro here is the unique styling. The dual anodized finish in matte black with the blue is very unique. You have this long gray anodized clip and tips here, and it's quite a pointy looking pen, definitely a distinctive shape as well. So very unique looking. I also think that the fit and finish is very good. The writing performance is very good, and the comfort is very good with this big grip section and lightweight because it's made out of aluminum. So overall, it's a pretty enjoyable pen to use. Now, in terms of cons, the biggest con is the price. $275 retail, around $220 street, and I think it's double that if you get one with a gold nib. And for that, you really gotta like the look of this pen and appreciate that dual anodized finish, because that's a lot of money for a steel nib pen, one that doesn't have a lot of handiwork that goes into it. A lot of this, I mean, the whole pen is basically made by machines, and I do believe that the nibs are checked by hand, so if you buy one of these, there's a very good chance that you're not going to have any problems with it. But overall, it's a lot of money for what this is, I think. You know, my understanding of how amazing the dual anodized technology is limited, so maybe it's very expensive to do, but for me, I kind of don't think it's worth it anywhere near that retail price. Now, the other con I would say is that finish is not the most durable, so I don't know how well this is going to look after I've been using it for years. You know, I've only had this pen on my desk maybe for 2 months, 3 months maybe. And I do see marks on it, and I've never traveled with it. It's never left my desk. So maybe I was hard on it, but I don't really think that I was, and I do see marks in the finish. Also, these rings catch dust, which probably won't bother most people, but when I'm under lights like this, I definitely notice it, and it does bug me. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen paper and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.